Hi, everybody. So, oh my gosh, last night was so amazing. I had a blast. I hope that you guys had fun, and I hope that you all are excited for Diva Business School. I am so excited. I'm actually going to do a whole video that just talks about that. And I really hope if those of you that are several of you since then, this morning, have reached out and said that you actually really want to do private coaching too. So if that is something that you're wanting to do, then schedule a call with me and let's just get it set up so we can get it started. Because the idea is we want you to, if you want to continue learning and growing after this event, I want you to do that right away, because any break you take in it is setbacks. It doesn't allow you to keep the momentum going. It becomes more of a maintaining thing. And we want you less maintaining and more just capitalizing on the momentum. But enough about that. So I'm excited. Today I'm actually going to be reading for you all, which might be a little strange because it's kind of long. But I want you all to bear with me because this is, I've probably read 150 books in the self-development world. And this is the most incredible explanation that I've ever seen of what we've been talking about, where our beliefs come from. And last night especially, I talked on the call and in the video before as well about how we end up in this little cage as adults in our life, and the cage is all the things that we don't believe we are or that we can do. And outside of the cage is an infinite world of possibility, and that's where we can really design the life that we want to have. So the idea is to get you as quickly out of the cage as possible. And so in order to get out of the cage, you have to realize you're in the cage. And you have to see how this progression happened so that you can start changing it for yourself in your life. And this is just from the moment you're born until now, the most incredible way to explain it. So bear with me. I hope you guys enjoy the passage. It's from, this book is rocking my world, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Voice of Knowledge. It is just incredible. So this is chapter 3, and it says the life of our imperfection, or the lie of our imperfection, sorry. Childhood memories are recalled. It says, I remember when I was a child, I was so free. It was wonderful to be a child. I remember that I learned to walk before I learned to talk. I was like a little sponge trying to learn everything. I also remembered the way I used to be before I could speak. As a little child, I was completely authentic. I never pretended to be what I'm not. My tendency was to play, to explore, to be happy. My emotions ruled everything. I only wanted to do what I liked to do, and I tried to avoid what I didn't like. All of my attention was focused on what I was feeling. And I could perceive the emotions coming out of other people. We can call it instinct if we want to, but it was a kind of perception. Some people I would run to because I trusted them. I would get close to others because I felt uncomfortable. I wouldn't get close to others because I felt uncomfortable. I had many emotions that I couldn't explain because I didn't have words, of course. This is incredible. I just have to point this out because this happens in adult life too. We just don't notice it. And the same for other people. If you don't put off the energy of being comfortable, they will not be drawn to you. And if you do put off that energy of I'm inviting, I'm a great place to be, I am a warmth, come to me, I am light, they will be drawn to you. I remember waking up, seeing my mother's face, and feeling overwhelmed with a desire to grab her. I didn't know that this emotion was called love. It was completely natural to love. I felt the same way about my toys, about the cat and the dog too. I remember seeing my father come back from work and running to him and jumping on him with so much joy, with a big and beautiful smile, completely authentic. I could be naked and I didn't care what people thought. I used to be myself. I have to point this out too. For those of you that were at the retreat, we laughed because I love to be naked and I talk about it a lot. And I think that comes from really an inner childlike wonder about yourself and about other people. And I think it's something that we have to more focus on getting back to and not shying away from. But anyways, there's a lot of good stuff like this in this passage. So I could be naked and I didn't care what people thought. I used to be myself, whatever I was, because I didn't have knowledge. I didn't have a program in my head. I didn't know what I was. I didn't care to know. Just as a dog doesn't know it's a dog, but it acts like a dog, barks like a dog. Well, I used to be like that too. I lived my life through my integrity. This was my true nature before I learned to speak. I continued to explore my childhood memories, and I discovered that something happens to all of us. What happens? Knowledge happens. I can remember starting to learn words. I learned the names of every object that I perceive. I learned a language, which is great. Now I can use words to ask for what I want. Months later, or maybe years later, my mind is mature enough for abstract concepts. With these concepts, something incredible happens. I start to create stories by qualifying everything. What is right or wrong, what I should or shouldn't be, what is good or bad, beautiful or ugly. I learn from my parents, not just by what they say, but by what they do. I learn what they say not just to me, but what they say about other people. I learn how to interact. I copy everything that I see. I see my father, very powerful with his strong opinions, and I want to be like him. I can hardly wait to grow up to have an opinion of my own. When I finally understand the language, almost everybody begins to tell me what I am. The way I learn about myself is by hearing the opinions of the storytellers around me. Whoa, I have to just stop. Are you kidding me? Yes. The way that we learn who we are is by other people around us who are also storytellers. It's not really who we are. My mother creates an image of me based on what she believes I am. She tells me what I am, and I believe her. Then my father tells me what I am, and it's something completely different, but I agree with him too. Of course, each of my brothers and sisters, they have an opinion of me too, and I agree with them. Surely they know more than I do, even though I'm the one who lives in this physical body. None of this makes sense, but I'm having fun. Then I go to school and the teacher tells me what I am, which is still okay until she tells me the way I should be, but I am not. I agree, and the problem begins in that moment. I hear the teacher say, "Children, you need to work hard to become somebody, to become success in life. The world is divided into winners and losers, and you are here to prepare yourself to become a winner. If you work hard, perhaps you will be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer." My teacher tells me stories about all the past presidents and what they did when they were children. Of course, all of the heroes are winners. I am a child, I am innocent. I learned the concept of winner. It's breaks my heart. Oh, this is I might tear up in this. This was really powerful for me. I agree that I should become a winner, and that's it. That's the agreement. It's stored in my memory. At home, I hear my parents say, "Miguel, you have to be this to be a good boy," which means if I don't behave that way, I am not a good boy. They don't say this, but I understand this. You have to do this and that to be a good boy. Then you will get a reward. And if you are not that way, you will be punished. Oops! I am too small. They are too big. I try to rebel and I fail. They win. I start pretending to be what I am not to avoid the punishment, but I also get the reward. I have to be what they tell me to be because the reward only goes to good boys. I remember trying so hard to become what they want me to be just to have the reward of their attention, just to hear them say, "Miguel, you're such a good boy." What I don't notice behind all of the messages I hear are the silent messages that are never said, but that I can understand. I am not the way I should be. It is not okay to be me. If the message is, "Miguel, you have to work hard to become somebody," that means right now, I'm nobody. In a child's mind, the silent message I understand is I am not good enough. And not just that, I will never be good enough because I am not perfect. I agree, and in that moment, like most of us, I start searching for perfection. Oh gosh, I hope that you guys are like hearing this the way I hear it, because it just is, it's incredible. And I've already read this once. I don't know why it's making me cry right now. That's how the image of perfection is introduced in my mind. This is why I stop being myself and I start pretending to be what I am not. The first lie happens in my first year of school almost right away. Sitting in the classroom and seeing my teacher impresses me deeply. The teacher is a grown-up. Whatever she says must be the truth, just as whatever my father and mother say must be the truth. She is a great teacher who really cares about children. And even though the message I receive is mostly positive, the consequence is a little different. Behind that message is something very subtle. I call it the lie of my imperfection. It is the main lie that I agree to believe about myself. And from that lie, more lies are invented to support it. This is the moment of my fall, when I start to come out of heaven with when my faith, and by the way, this is a Toltec, a book about Toltec wisdom. So he talks about God, and it's okay, like, don't be offended by the language of it. He does talk about God, but this is like an ancient Toltec wisdom book. So just hear the message. But this is the moment of my fall, when I start to come out of heaven, when my faith in the lie begins to work its magic. Just like a miracle, it starts to take effect all around me. I have to work hard to be good enough for my mother, to be good enough for my father, to be good enough for my older brothers and sisters, to be good enough for my teachers. This is overwhelming, but it's not over yet. I turn on the television and they also tell me the way I should look, the way I should dress, the way I should be, but I am not. Television gives me more images of heroes and villains. I see people trying hard to be winners. I see them striving for perfection, wanting to be someone important, wanting to be what they are not. The real drama begins as a teenager, because now it's not only that I'm not good enough for other people, I'm no longer good enough for myself. The result is self-rejection. I try to prove my worth by working myself I try to prove my worth to myself by working hard to get A's in school. I try to be the best at sports, the best at playing chess, the best at everything. At first I do this to try to impress my father and my older brothers. Later I do it to impress myself. At this point, I am no longer authentic. I have lost my integrity, my authenticity, because I no longer make decisions based on what is good for me. It is more important to satisfy other people's points of view. When I change schools from elementary to the next level, I am told you are not a child anymore. You cannot act like a child. Now you have to behave this way. Over and over, I try to please other people by pretending to be what they want me to be. I start searching for opinions from everybody. How do I look? What do you think of me? Did I do a good job? Am I looking for support from someone to tell me, Miguel, you're so good? And if I am with someone who tells me how good I am, that person can manipulate my life so easily, because I need that recognition. I need somebody to tell me that I am intelligent, that I am wonderful, that I am a winner. I can't stand alone. I can't stand to be alone with myself. When I am alone, I see myself as a loser, and my self-judgment is strong. Because I am not the way I should be according to my story. I judge myself, and I find myself guilty. Then I begin to use everything around me as an instrument for self-punishment. I have the tendency to compare myself with other people, or they are better than I am, or they are worse. That makes me feel a little better, but then I see myself in the mirror. Ugh. I don't like what I see. I reject myself. Of course I don't love myself, but I pretend that I love myself. With enough practice, I can even begin to believe what I pretend. Later, when I really try to prove myself in society, I become a medical doctor. Does becoming a medical doctor finally make me a winner? Oh no. There are cardiologists, neurologists, surgeons. Then I become a surgeon, but I'm still not good enough according to my story. I have an image of myself that I believe when I'm alone, and I project different images around other people depending on what I want them to believe about me. Ooh, that's a good one. Let me just say that again. I have an image of myself that I believe, and when I'm alone, I have an image of myself that I believe when I'm alone. That's who you are. And then I project different images around other people depending on what I want them to believe about me. I have this thing that I talk about. I just want to say this for 2 seconds. It's called the rule of 3 tribes. There are a third of the people in the world that will hate you no matter what you do. Doesn't matter how you show up, they will hate you. And then there's a third of the people in the world that will be completely indifferent to you. So it doesn't matter how you show up. As your highest self or your worst self, they won't have an opinion about you. And then there are a third of the people that will follow you into the dark. They will follow you everywhere you go. They will love you unconditionally. It doesn't matter if you show up as your highest self or your lowest self. They will love you. But the only way they can find you is if you show up as your authentic self. It's not about highest self or lowest self. It's about showing up as your authentic self. The only way those customers, those clients, those business partners, those coaches can find you is if you show up as your authentic self and you stop portraying this idea of what you think you want other people to see in you, and you just be you. And then the people that see you, really see you, your soul, those people come to you. And the people that don't wouldn't have anyways. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I am trying to project my images, and I have to defend these images. I have to become very intelligent just to cover up all the lies. I keep pretending to be all of those images, and from years and years of practice, I become a great actor. If I have a broken heart, I tell myself it doesn't hurt, I don't care. I am lying. I am pretending. I could almost win an Academy Award for my performance. What a character, what a drama. And I could say that the drama of my life begins when I agree that I am not good enough. When I hear my teachers, my family, the television tell me, Miguel, you have to be this way. But I'm not. I am searching for appreciation, for acceptance, for love, not knowing that it's just a story. I am searching for perfection, and I find it very interesting how not being perfect becomes the biggest excuse people use to justify their actions. Every time they make a mistake and need to defend their image, I hear them say, well, I'm only human, I'm not perfect, only God is perfect. This also becomes the biggest excuse for every mistake I make. Oh well, nobody's perfect. What a great justification. That one's tough too. I go to church and they show me pictures of saints. This is perfection. But in the faces of the saints I see suffering and pain. Oh, to be perfect, do I need to be like them? Yes, I am here to suffer. And if I suffer with patience, maybe when I die I can receive my reward in heaven. Maybe then I'll be perfect. Just hear the message, guys. I don't want to offend anyone, but just hear the message. I used to believe that because I heard it so often, but it's just a story. I had so many superstitions in my head about myself, about everything. Lies that come from thousands of years ago still affect the way we create our own story. What I was told as a child is only God is perfect. All of God's creation is perfect, except for humans. At the same time, I was told that God put humans at the very top of creation. Ooh, do you hear that? Congruency. But how can humans be at the top of creation when everything is perfect except humans? It didn't make sense to me. After all, I grew up, I thought about contradiction. This is not possible. If God is perfect, well, God is the one who creates everything. If I really believe in the perfection of God's creation, then I think that all of us are perfect, or God is not perfect either. Boom. This passage, this is why I'm reading this to you. It really just blew my mind. I love and respect all of God's creation. How can I say, God, you have created billions of people and they are not perfect? For me to say that I am not perfect, or for you to not be perfect, it's the greatest insult to God from my point of view. If we don't see the perfection, it's because our attention is focused on the lie, on the image of perfection that we can never be. And how many of us give up trying to be the image of perfection, but in giving up, we don't go as warriors. We don't go on as warriors. We just accept that we are failures, that we will never make it, that we blame everything outside of us. I didn't make it because nobody helped me, because of this or that or whatever. There are hundreds of excuses, but now the self-judgment is even worse than before. When we are still trying to be perfect, the judgment is there, but it's not as bad as when we give up. Then we try to cover our frustration and say, it's okay, this is the kind of life I want. But we know that we have failed, and we can't hide what we believe from ourselves. Oof. Of course, anytime we try to be what we are not, we fail. Hear that. Every time we try to be what we are not, we fail. It's so difficult to be what we are not, to pretend to be what we are not. I used to pretend that I was very happy and very strong and very important. Wow. Living that way is truly a deep hell. It's a setup. It's a no-win situation. You can never be what you are not. And that is the main point. You can only be you, and that's it. And you are you right now, and it's effortless. There is no need to justify what we are. There is no need to work hard to become what we are not. Ooh, I love that. We just need to return to our integrity, to the way we were before we learned to speak. Perfect. As little children, we are authentic. When we are hungry, we only want to eat. When we are tired, we just want to rest. Only the present time is real for us. We don't care about the past and we aren't worried about the future. We enjoy life. We want to explore and have fun. Nobody teaches us to be that way. We are born that way. We are born in truth, but we grow up believing lies. This is the whole drama of humanity. The whole problem with storytellers. One of the biggest lies is the story of humanity is the lie of our imperfection. That lie had a big effect on my own life. And though I tell others not to make assumptions, I have to assume that in one way or another this happens to all of us. Of course, there are differences in the story, but I think the pattern is more or less the same for everyone. Hardly anyone can escape from the setup. I was a perfect little child. I was innocent, and I ate the lie that I am not what I should be. I believed that I would have to work hard to become what I should be. This is how I learned to create my story, and because I had faith in the story became truth for me. And the story, even if it is full of lies, is perfect. It is wonderful and beautiful. The story is not right or wrong or good or bad. It's just a story. That's all. But with awareness, we can change the story. Step by step, we can return to the truth. Ooh, that was... I cried when I read that the first time, and I'm just crying again because it's so incredible. And I talked a lot about that on the call last night. And I just really want everybody to hear it. If you have kids, I want you to look at them today. I want you to see how perfect you really believe they are. Right? I want you to just, in those moments where you're not hating them and thinking they're assholes. We talked about that at the retreat too, and that's okay too. But in the moment where you genuinely just love them and you're so in awe of them and you're looking at them as these infinite little beings when they're dancing in little circles in your living room. Lindsay, that was the cutest video ever. I just want you to see them. See what you believe about them. Right? Because they're going to grow up one day. And they're going to be adults that deal with what you deal with right now. You can transform that just a little bit for them if you want by transforming you right now. If you leave the cage, you create a world where they grow up with a mom outside of the cage. They grow up with an authentic mom, an authentic, beautiful woman who is 100% herself and who doesn't believe the story. And who works hard every day to help other people do that too. Like, that is what is available to you. Through this program, through Diva Business, through private coaching, through your own personal development if this is the last thing you ever do. It's not something that you have to continuously work on every single moment to change. It's just the moment you believe what I just read, the moment you hear that, the moment that you really believe you are perfect, exactly how you are, as exactly who you are. That moment will change everything for you. The moment that you decide I am not going to believe what other people say I can or can't do, the moment I'm not going to believe myself, because that inside voice came from that story that I just read you. It's not even your voice. It's not. It's not your voice. It's your teacher's voice. It's your parents' voice. It's your sibling's voice. It's your friend's voice. It's your employer's voice. It's everybody's voice but your own. We just develop it as our own. This exact story, this is how it's created. And now it's time to just unlearn it and move on. It's time to just create a new life that is authentic, that is who you want to be. It's your best life. It's your passionate life. It's the life you're meant to live. And this life, as scary as it is to dive into it and really find out who your authentic self is, it is the most freeing, most liberating, most incredible feeling you'll ever have on this planet. So I'm just going to leave it there. I love you all. I hope you guys have a beautiful week, and you'll hear more about how others influence our beliefs and how important it is to create a circle of influence around you that can help you grow in this way. And when you grow everyone around you. Your husband, your children, your friends, your family, everybody changes, everybody grows. I've seen it in my own life, so I know it's available to you as well. I love you all. Have a wonderful week. Bye.